Hi, everybody. My name is Amy Brown, and I'm the Assistant Director of Technology Enhanced Pedagogy with UTLC. And this is the fourth in our series of the Online Learning and Innovation webinar series. Each month we've been focusing on different online learning pedagogies for 30 minutes to kind of give you an idea and get you interested. And then once you've watched this, we'll record it, and then we'll put it online, so if you want to watch it again, you can do so. We're going to put that on the library website and also the UTLC website. So this is a joint collaboration between the libraries and the UTLC. So I noticed that everyone has muted their mics, so I think we're all set to go. Let me go ahead and introduce our speakers today. This session is called Google and Online Instruction. This webinar is presented by Aprille Black, who is the ITC for UNCG's Bryan School of Business and Economics, and Joy Pine Thomas, who is the ITC for the UNCG School of Nursing. I'm going to hand this over to Aprille so that she can get going and present.
Okay. Are you going to give me privileges?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, yeah.
All right, perfect. Okay, so she's now passed what I call the Powerball up to me in WebEx, which means that I can share my screen with you. And that's an important skill set to have if you teach online, just being able to share with your students so that they can share their screens when you're doing in-class presentations, which has nothing to do with this workshop, but just was giving you a little tidbit just so you'd know. So we're going to get started with Google applications, and there are so many at UNCG that we have access to, but we really just use a few main ones all the time. So I'm going to actually start by sharing my screen. So let me do that very quickly. I'm going to share my whole screen, and I'm going to do monitor 1. So that'll be over here. And don't judge my number of windows, but yeah, I have a lot open. So I'm going to start first with in just the generic email. In this account, this is a look at our UNCG mail account. And I don't know if all of you know this, but this little box right here is all of our Google apps through UNCG. So I'm going to click on that little box, and it gives me some choices for Google applications. So I can use my mail account, which I'm already in, the calendar, my Google Drive account, or it breaks the Drive account up into docs, sheets, slides. If you want more than just docs, sheets, slides, or sites, groups, contacts, or meet, then you need to actually click on the Drive icon, which is what we're going to look at for online teaching. So I'm going to click on the Drive icon, and that opens up my Google Drive account. So inside my Drive account, I have a lot of different kinds of stuff. These are files that I've looked at recently, but if I scroll down, come on, computer. Can't get it to scroll. Let me minimize it so I can get to the scroll bar. All right, so I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to drag it just a little bit bigger than this. It'll let me. There we go. I want to be able to keep the handle. So in this scroll bar, I can now see that I have other folders that I can store things in an organized way, or I can share files. That's important for when I'm working with students, is to be able to share documents. In an online class, you want your students to be able to maybe collaborate in an online setting on a document, and you may want to see what they're actually doing in that document. So if you have them create a Google Doc and share it with their group members and share it with you, then you can see them as their work progresses. You could follow along as they're making the changes, or you can provide them with feedback throughout the process, which is an awesome way to work in for a collaborative activity in an online class. So the first thing we're going to look at are the menu choices in Spartan Drive. And the most important one is this new button, because that's the first thing you're going to do, is you're going to create a new document. So to create a new document, you have lots of options. And I'm just going to show you these options, and then we're going to go and look at Canvas a little bit, because we only have 20 minutes of basic talk time. So when you create a new document, the first thing I do for a class, and I think it's a good practice, is I create a folder for that class. So when you create plus folder, you get a new folder and you get to name it. So we'll call this ISM 782, because that's a class I'm teaching in the fall, and I'm going to name it Spring 17. Not quite done with fall yet, are we? Spring 17, and then create this folder. So now I have a folder, and anything that I want to share with my students that I'm doing outside of Canvas and I'm doing within Drive, I'm going to share in this ISM Spring 17 folder. And it should be Spring 18, so let me go in and edit that. Let me rename it. because it is not 17, it will be 18. I'm so sorry. So now it's Spring 18, and that was a quick, easy edit to fix that. So now I'm going to share it in my Spring 18 folder. This folder I can share by going over to the far right side of the screen. I can click here and I can share my folder. There's actually nothing in this folder yet, so there's really nothing to share. Let me open it up and we'll put something in there. Now, let's say we already have files that we created. It doesn't have to be a Google Doc or a Google slide. It can be any file. So I'm going to actually drag something from my computer. I'm going to open up my documents, and I'll pull something from my ITC folder, because all it should be shareable. And I'll pull this weekly online discussion rubric. And I'm going to pull that, and I'm just going to drag it and copy it into that folder. So now I've got this little message that it's uploaded this file. And so now this file has been uploaded into my ISM Spring 18 folder. So I can share this by going to my share icon. And I'm going to go back on. I don't want to just share this individual document. I want to share the whole folder. So I'm going to click on this little down arrow, and I'm going to share the whole folder or just the file. You have options. I'm going to share the folder. So I can go in and just paste in the list of all of my students' names. But if you're in a really large class, let's say you have 100 students, that's not very effective, right? That's kind of difficult to do. So easier than that to do would be go in and get a shareable link. So I'm going to click Get Shareable Link. And here is important. Do I just want it to be my students at UNCG? If so, then anyone at UNCG with this link can view is the correct choice. But let's say that you've got a guest speaker coming and you want them to also have access to that file. Then you need to change that to, click on More, and then you want to change that to anyone with this link. So it's public on the web, anyone with the link. So that's what I'm going to choose by clicking right here. Then my guest speaker has access to it, and so do all my students. And then I'm going to click Save, and I'm going to copy the link, and then I can take that link and I can paste it in my Canvas course where I want to put it. Now let's say we're doing a group assignment, and we've created a group website. Let me go into Canvas, and I'm just going to use this blank MIB course shell, and I'm going to go into People. Actually, Joy, what was the name of the course that you shared with us?
It was the standardized course shell.
Okay, let me see if that's on my dashboard really quickly, and we'll go to another course because there'll be some students in that course, and there's no students in this course to really create groups. Come on. The computer is working really slowly here.
Yeah, it is.
Sorry about that. Is there a drag time for you as well, seeing my screen?
No, we see it.
Okay. Okay.
It should be standardized course items.
Is it DEV in front of it or just?
Yeah. Actually, it just should say standardized course items.
Okay, let's go alphabetically down and see if I can find that. QRS, standardized items for, here we go.
There you go.
So I'm going to go into this course. This is a developmental course that Joyce created for her program. And so I'm going to go in and I'm going to actually go over to People. Because when you create groups in Canvas, you use your People tool. And I like to keep as much as I can inside Canvas just because it protects all of my documents and it keeps your students working, you know, within your course. So I'm going to go to Project Groups because we've already created a group here. And this group is called Presentation, and there are 2 students in this group. And I can say there's 2 of 2. So when I want to visit the group's home page, I just go over here to the far right, and I'm going to say Visit the Group Homepage because I want to go to their home page. Now, I'm actually in this home page for the group, and I can do one of 2 things. I can create an announcement and share the link via the announcement, or I can create a page, and let's say we're going to have multiple documents that we're sharing. Then I would put all of those shared documents on this page. So in this instance, I'm going to do a page because we've already created one, and we're going to go look at that page. And it's called a collaboration document. So these are documents that I want our students to work on together. This is important when you're doing something with a template. So for instance, in one of our ISM programs, we have a template that each group has to use and fill in their content. So we can't just share one document because there's different unique information that goes on the template. So we share the template with each group. So we create a unique template for each group to complete, and they do that inside their group. So sometimes, you know, you could use one document for every group and just paste it in to all the groups, or just share it once across the whole course and say use this document in your group setting. But if you have a unique template that you want each group to use that identifies their company traits very specifically to their assignment, for us it's a company assignment, so it's a company trait template, so each company has a unique template. But because they are unique, I can't just share one template across the whole thing. I have to share a unique template to each group. So in this instance, we might have unique documents for each group. So that's why we created a page. And in this page, we can go in and edit the page, and we can paste in the unique documents that are going to be collaborative documents for this page. So I just copied a URL. So I'm going to go edit the page, and I'm going to copy that URL, and I'm going to add it to my page. Let me edit it. Go back. Sorry. So this is the template I was talking about, so we'll go edit this one. No, that's not it. I'm sorry. I just want to edit this page. Why won't it let me? Ah, there we go. All right, sorry about that. So here I'm going to add in a link to this page, and I'm going to name this link, what kind of file did I share? I shared a
ISM.
We'll say this is an education class. We're just picking up stuff. So this was actually about a rubric, how to create a rubric to grade online discussion. So we're going to call this ISM rubric, and then I'm just going to highlight it, and I'm going to link to that. So I'm going to click on the link URL, and I'm just going to paste that link in I got from Drive when I created the document and shared it in the folder. And then I'm going to save this, and now you'll access it directly in your Canvas course, and this would be through the page's shared rubric. So then I click on ISM rubric, and that opens up this rubric. They click on it, and it opens up the PDF. So that's what I shared through Google Drive in the ISM 782 folder, and then everybody in my course could see it. I could also email the link, or I could use it as an announcement, as I said earlier. I'm going to go back a screen because I want to go back to that page, and we're going to now look at some different kinds of group documents that we've created. Joy, do you want to walk through this template how we created a group template, or do you want me to keep going?
You can keep going. Since you already have it up.
Okay. Here's a group project template. In Canvas, I don't know how many of you, in Google Apps, how many of you have used the templates when you create a new document. But this template already existed, and we just edited it to call it Group Project Template. We added a date. We hadn't put in 2018, but we can just simply click on that and make that 17. And then we edited the titles of the fields, but we didn't edit the fields. But this is creating a new document using a template, which is very helpful when you're creating something for a collaborative activity. If there's a template that already exists, why not use them? So how do we get to a template? I'm going to show you that next. How do you create something from a template? So you're going back to Drive, so we're now in Drive again. And I'm now going to go to New, and this time I'm going to do a new Google Doc, and I'm going to create the doc this time using this arrow, and I'm from a template. So I choose that. And these are our choices, all kinds of templates. But one of these should look familiar. Do you see something that looks familiar just from me scrolling down? I'm going to assume that's a yes, because this is the exact template that we borrowed and we adjusted for our sheet. So I'm going to click on it so you can see what we did. So we've opened this report template. We renamed it something else, and we edited it. And so instead of saying science report, we named it whatever we named it, and I don't remember what we named it. We put our name and our date here, and then we just changed these headers to work for us, for what we needed. Deleted the picture and just kept what we wanted. So that's the template that we borrowed and we used. Now, to rename, all you do is click on it. We can just click right here, and we can call this, I'll just say practice, just so you know. And that's how you rename a file, and it's now this practice file. We can save it in our collaborative folder in Canvas. I mean, we save it in Drive first, but then we take the link and we put it in the collaborative Drive and page in Canvas, and then the students can have it, and each group can edit the document to meet the needs of that group. So that is creating a new document using a template. Now we're going to do a new Google Sheet using a template. It's the same idea. So you go to Google Sheets, and you can either use a blank spreadsheet or from a template. I'm choosing from a template. I'm a big fan of these. There's a lesson plan one that's often used, and it's kind of cool. This one is attendance, gradebook, assignment tracker, to-do list, annual budget, monthly budget, calendaring, schedule. Don't think we need wedding planner. Sorry about that. Let me just dismiss this. And so something else in this template gallery I wanted you to see is I was under the General tab, but if you click over to UNCG, you now see that there are some standard templates UNCG has, and you can borrow those. It's really important when we look at presentations, which I'm now going to show you next very quickly, using slides instead of PowerPoint slides. You can use Google Slides, and you can have your students for their presentations create Google Slides within their groups, include you in the group invite, and you can see what they're working on, and if you need to add editing information to their slides, it's very easy to do using these Google apps. So I'm going to do a slides really quickly. And this is for many faculty members, one of the things they like about Google Slides is that they can do from a template, they can create a slide without having to go like in PowerPoint, having to download the template for UNCG. We have these under the rubric already, under the UNCG tab. And this is a blue background with an abbreviated logo. Here's the white background. And then you open up your template, and it has the logo in there. So if you're going to a conference and you want to present and your department's paying for it and they really want you to advertise where you're from, here's the basic UNCG logo. It'll be in the footer of every slide. So as you create your slides, you already have the UNCG logo embedded in that. You can even use this in your course if you wanted to customize it for your department or for your course. But slides is very easy to use. When you're doing it with a group, which is what we're talking about for online courses, you can go in and add your comments right here. You can see the comment threads as your students go through and make comments on each other's slides. You can look at all the comments that have been made, and you can provide them with feedback based on the comments that are given. So that is, I've done slides, documents, and sheets. The only other thing I want to show you, and I have 1 minute left, I'm trying to stay on time very quickly today because last time I didn't do such a good job of maintaining my time schedule. So I'm going to show you very quickly the other new form, and that is Google Forms. And I have to go to More to get to Forms. But I click on More and drag over to Google Forms. In Forms, you have the same thing. Blank forms are from a template. Here are the templates that are available. A blank quiz, an assessment, a worksheet, a course evaluation. So if you wanted to use a standardized template and you wanted to use the course evaluation, you just click on it. It opens up this course evaluation. You can edit it to fit yourself, all the content. You can change the questions simply by clicking in the squares, and you can edit this. This is really good in an online course for doing a midterm evaluation. I teach online, and every semester, halfway through the semester, I do a midway evaluation. I like to find out what's going well for the students in the class, and I like to know what's giving them a little bit of a hang-up where they're struggling. So I do an evaluation midway through my online course, and I ask them for what's going well, what's not, and I give them some very standardized questions as well that are just, choices. But I like to get their feedback. What kinds of things? Is the class structure working well for the students? Are they having any issues finding the resources that are discussed in an assignment? And that really helps me. If there's something that's pretty uniform across the evaluations that needs to be changed, I make those changes before we progress through the rest of the semester, especially if it's a design issue. I make those fixes so that by the end of the semester it runs a little more smoothly. And at the end of the semester, I also do another course evaluation, and I use those things to revise the course for the next time I teach it. So I really like these Google Forms for creating these course evaluations, and I think that I would sales pitch these anytime. We have several that you can look at that we created ourselves. But that is my time, 1:21 or our time. Joy, do you have anything else you want to add? You need to turn your mic on. I can't hear you. Can anybody hear Joy?
I can't hear Joy. Her mic is muted.
Okay. Joy, you need to unmute your mic,
Okay.
please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to say that a lot of times it's always good to use the forms to do a pulse of what your students are thinking about your, maybe just like April said, the design of your class. And it's good. The good time to use it would be in the midpoint of your class and at the end. So it's a good way to, get a pulse of your class.
Another good thing with Google Forms is you can create activities using the forms. I created choose your own ending kind of story scenarios. So when I do case studies, this is an instructional design course. So when we're doing case studies, they get to choose the steps that they would take in the case and find out what the end result would be based on the choices they make in the case study. And I do that with Google Forms. It's really easy. You can also create games inside Google Forms for reviewing vocabulary. It helps to increase engagement in the online course, and I think students really enjoy that. So,
and online polling as well.
Mm-hmm. Does anybody have any questions?
Feel free to unmute your mic if you would like to ask a question, or if you don't want to ask it out loud, put it in chat and I can ask it for you.
I'm sure you were impressed with the speed with which I zipped through that.
It was just fine.
April, I was wondering, for the slides template, can you use those on existing slides, or do you have to build those from the ground up?
Here's how I would do that. If I had existing slides, are they in PowerPoint, already pre-created in PowerPoint?
Yeah, that's what I had in mind.
Okay, yeah, you would probably want to go ahead in PowerPoint and add the slides, the template through PowerPoint, because when you convert it over to Google Slides, well, maybe you could. I haven't tried. The answer might be yes. I don't know. I've never tried that, so I don't know. I'm going to say I don't know. I'm not sure. Does anybody know the answer to that?
I believe you can save the slides in Drive.
No, that's not what he's asking. He's asking if
he wants to create them.
No, he's asking if you've already created a PowerPoint presentation, but you want to use the template version of the UNCG background so that you apply the slides to that template. The only way I know that it would for sure work is you create the slide presentation and then you just paste your slide, the content of your slides into the template, and that seems silly. There may be another way to do that, but I know that would work. Sorry, Ben. Wish it was easier. Is that you, Ben?
So, April, what do you find that you use the most in the Google tools?
For me, teaching online, I use Google Docs all the time because my online courses are writing intensive, and so they have a major project that's broken into 3 large chunks, and they work on that they work on it independently. Each student has their own project they have to do individually, but they collaboratively provide peer feedback. So we use Google Drive for providing the feedback in 2 ways. One, they use Google Docs for writing and editing of the document, so their feedback from me and from their assigned peer, is given in Google Drive directly on the document. And then in Google Forms, they provide feedback. I created a form, and they provide the student with a different kind of feedback where I've asked specific questions that they have to address as far as instructional design principles. How did, let's say person A, how did person A's introduction use the learner assessment to design the instructional objectives for the course? I'm just giving you some generic something, but they have to answer those questions inside the Google form. Then the students get copies of that Google form, and I do as well. It lets me see two things. One, how well did they review their partner's document, and how well do they understand the content of the course? So it gives me feedback in two different ways. So I would say Google Documents and Google Forms are what I use most. Obviously, the mail feature we use all the time. I don't even think of that as a Google app anymore. It's so part of our life. But Forms is fun for creating games, and yeah, if you want to do a quick low-stakes quiz outside of Canvas, it would work well for that. But yeah, Forms and Docs. Does everybody in here teach online in the WebEx today? Anybody talking to me? Thanks, Catherine.
Sorry, I was telling you that there was a question from Catherine in the chat room. Sorry.
Okay. So Catherine, I didn't see your chat. I just saw the yes that you do teach online. So thanks for that response. Do you find there's some Google apps you use more often than others?
Oh, so this is Catherine, and no, I've not used Google Apps. I was just saying, yes, I teach online.
Yes, okay.
So Catherine's asking the question, can she receive a copy of an example of where Google Forms can be used in a case study?
Sure.
That'd be excellent. Thank you.
Okay, I'll be happy to share that. I have to confirm that I can share that because it's for a different university. I don't teach online at UNCG. I teach online at Boise State. Okay. And I just need to make sure I'm not crossing any lines that I signed a little, you have to sign your life away to teach somewhere else. At UNCG, I just have to make sure I'm not violating any rules.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
And if I am violating a rule, then I'll create a new one for you, and I'll make it a UNCG based one. How's that sound?
Great.
I do have one final question, April. So if faculty are thinking about using Google Docs to have students create papers for submission, is there a way to see the analytics of that document, say when they started working on it, how much editing time they spent on it?
Yes, and it's not like the analytics are fairly strong within the Google Apps programs, but what's more interesting is when you go in and look at history, what kinds of revisions are made with the document. So following the trail of comments and the revisions is really most informative. And you can see that directly. So let's see if I have something open from UNCG that I can show you. How about one of our docs? Is that kosher?
One of our docs for online learning?
Uh-huh.
That's fine. Feel free.
Okay.
It might be kind of ugly with lots of comments, but
but they can see that.
It'll work.
Yes, it will work.
Okay, can you give me the name? I'm in Forms, so let me get back out to Drive. Let me see if I can find something quick. Oh. Do you know what folder that's in?
If you go to the online learning class.
I need to go with shared with me. I'm looking in my Drive, so hold on 1 second.
Sure.
I think it's documents for ITC Google site folder.
That's my personal ITC folder.
Oh, okay.
Online training, I think this one maybe
If you go to the Canvas class, and there's a link at the bottom.
All right, let's do that. That might be easiest. Yeah, good idea.
That's how I get there.
Okay. Again, my computer is just whipping along here. I'm sorry. Am I still sharing my screen?
No, you're not sharing the screen.
Okay, let me share it real quick so I can pull that up. I'm sorry, I realized that. I'm like, oh, I'm looking at people, so no, I'm not sharing my screen. I'll share my screen again really quickly. I'm sorry about that. Monitor 1.
You're fine. You're fine.
And I think it's black for me to find it quickly. Here it is.
There it is.
Okay, so I think we had,
At the bottom of that front page. There you go, at last.
so here, this is a document that a lot of people have worked on. And let me see if I can stretch these out so you can see. So if I click on the word comments, why do I not see the comments? Maybe I don't have, I'm not far enough over. Hold on a second. Okay, all right. Oh, we didn't make comments on it like this.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We added the comments into the spreadsheet.
Oh, yeah.
So we didn't add real comments. So let me just show you the difference. So what we did in this form is we added, so you know what I'm talking about, we added comments actually on the spreadsheet itself. We had a column for where we put in our feedback. So you can see this column here, we provided feedback, which is a cool way to use it as well. But if you're like grading a student or providing a feedback for a student, a lot of times we don't want to make the assumption that they're going to make the specific change. They're going to make a change, but we want to give them the creative license or privilege of making the change themselves, because we don't want to do the work for our students. We want them to make those changes themselves. So then we would actually go in and we would add a comment. So we can go in and we can add a comment by clicking plus comment, and I can go right here and I can find a comment. And I'm going to say, add comment, come here. So forgive me for adding this to the document. Here's the comment, and it'll place it around the box that's squared with a blue around it and yellow. So here's my comment, and it's going to be applied to that shell. And then when someone comes in as the instructor, if you see that, as the student I mean, if you see that I've said you need to revise this, remember to make sure your subject-verb agreement is appropriate or whatever, I'm making up something here, then the student just clicks resolve. I get a notification that that problem has been resolved via email, because Google Apps is all interchangeable. So I have notifications when the revisions have been made, and I find that very helpful. So now if I clicked on comments, you see there's a comment right here, and I would have a long list of all the comments. So that would be a way to see what the comments were as the students went through the documentation. I can reopen my comment. I can add a new comment. Right here, I can add more feedback if I wanted to, and I say, never mind, it was perfect, whatever. And then I just click reply, so then they've got another comment, and it just keeps a long running list of all the comments, okay? So that's how the comment feature looks when it gets down and dirty.
Thank you so much, April and Joy, for presenting today. April, if you wouldn't mind handing me
I'm handing it back right now. Let me stop
the Powerball, I think you called it. Thank you so much. I am making a recording of this, so you will see it shortly on the UTLC and library website. So if you want to view it again, they could do so. And thank you so much for coming, and I'm sure we're going to announce shortly in January some more webinars coming up in the new year.
Yeah. It won't let me just click and drag to you, so I'm going to have to go into participant and just make you reselect you. Don't know why.